Hybrid 4-cylinder versus turbo V6. Is there really any competition? I'll include a link to the Lexus here in Murray's website in the description down below, and then the Acura in Murray's website in the description down below as well. They're providing us with both of these vehicles. Let's get right into the comparison. On the hood of the TX is a turbo 2.4 liter 4-cylinder paired to a hybrid and a 6-speed. Fuel economy is 27 around town, 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 366 horsepower and then 406 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the MDX is a turbo 3 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed. Fuel economy 17 around town, 21 on the highway, with power outputs being 355 horsepower and then 354 pound-feet of torque. If you're able to, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. You know, when it comes to styling, the TX has this massive paint-matched grille. You do have fog lights up front when it comes to features, but yeah, it's very boxy. Again, the grille is pretty much the whole style. With the MDX, on the other hand, it's a little bit more traditional with the style, smaller grille. You've got venting on the side, still have fog lights, and it's a lot more angular overall. With the Lexus, 255 by 45 by 22 is a tire and wheel setup, and pretty overstyled wheels if you ask me. And then of course we got an F Sport badge. Kind of a cramped lot, but here's your side view on the TX. You can see that boxiness continues, especially to the back of the vehicle. But the MDX is 275 by 40 by 21 for the tire and wheel setup, and you do have Brembo brakes with this, nice red brake calipers. When it comes to the side of the MDX, I mean, you can see, especially with the roof line, kind of rounded off, and sorry, bad side profile, but there's no space. 1500 watt inverter in the TX, and then with the seats, you'll note that we can raise and lower the third row, which is kind of a nice little option. And the third row does fold down flat, like pretty much every SUV in this segment. Third row passengers do get some soft touch there. They've got little recline function, and you actually have pretty good space back here when it comes to legroom and overall headroom because of the box design. But the MDX also has an outlet here in the back, but it's 180 watt. Again, it's not a hybrid, so you don't have as much power available. You don't get any fancy like soft touch or anything with the third row. It still folds down flat. The third row on the MDX is definitely not as spacious as the TX. That's a big benefit of the TX over the MDX is you've got a much more usable third row, and you don't have any fancy seat controls. It's manual with the MDX. Capping things off at the back of the TX, giant light bar there, so pretty over styled. And the MDX there has more traditional taillights, so there's actually a separation with them, and it's got a really aggressive exhaust tip setup. But look at the height difference with the roof lines. It really shows you the difference in terms of what you're going to get in the third row space. In the second row of the TX, we've got good legroom, a little storage pocket. We have our own climate zone. We also have heated and ventilated seats, some USB ports, little outlet below, cup holders because this one has the captain chairs, and the seats themselves have nice materials. Sunshades here for the rear passengers, nice trim, and again, tons of headroom. Now the back of the MDX, you definitely sit lower in these seats, so my like hip position's angled down a little bit, but good legroom. And then we've got vents here in the back, heated seats, some USB ports, and the seats are really cool with the stitching. Got some red stitching. You can get some cool colors in this too. And then really tight fit and finish on the door panel. You got sunshades in the back. This one has the panoramic sunroof. It does bring down the roof line a little bit, but it's not bad. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors of the TX. You do get double pane windows up front, not in the back though. And then we've got the function to fold in the mirrors via power and more of that nice trim. And look at this front seat, perforated all down the center. You do have power adjustments with lumbar support on the side too. And to give a quick overview of the interior, we've got a full digital gauge cluster. This is like every modern car nowadays. It's customizable. You can change what is displayed in the gauge cluster, the gauge layout, all of that. And then the steering wheel is kind of sporty. You've got like perforated trim here on the side, paddle shifters on the back. Of course, it has modern safety tech like adaptive cruise control, lane departure, and all that. 360 camera system. I think it fills in, yeah, it does. Fills in underneath the vehicle as you move, which is kind of neat. And then as for the infotainment system, it's quick to respond. So like that's all easy to use. And then yeah, you've got your climate controls at the bottom of the screen. Heated cooled seats there too. It's always accessible, but it is something that is kind of nerve-wracking because like if that breaks, that's scary. We've got our phone charging pad down below, some USB ports, there's some storage underneath, cup holders, got the little shifter there. And then, you know, some items here like auto holds, we've got like an off-road mode, stability control. Center console's always kind of funky with how that opens up on either side. But you got nice trim here on the top. And then yeah, this one actually does not have a sunroof. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. We've got double pane windows in the front and the rear with the MDX, so that's a big plus. Memory seat functions there, and then you've got your power folding mirrors. And look at the trim in the door panel, beautiful. Front seats have more of that nice red stitching. You've got to have your power adjustments with lumbar support on the side too. And boom! Look at that full digital cluster with this. The steering wheel, just like the Lexus, got like a sporty design with the perforations. I like the paddle shifters in this, maybe a little bit more. But they're both nice. Tap cruise control with lane centering on it. Normal practical stuff. And then got a 360 camera system with this, good resolution. As for the infotainment system, it's very quick to respond. As I click it and nothing happens. But yeah, I mean, you can see it's great. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We've got our climate controls down below, so dual zone for the front. And then you'll note, not only do you have heated, cooled seats, you also have massage seats with this, your little drive mode select. Transmission select is a little bit different, but I actually kind of prefer buttons to the little knob thing in the Lexus, but both of them are kind of weird. This is always funny. Little volume control. We've got phone charging pads, some cup holders, center console, some USBs. Nice trim on the top with that. And then, yeah, panoramic center for this one. Now, both of these are about $77,000. Let's take them out and see how they perform. So, something to understand with this comparison. Acura is the underdog, right? They're both Japanese companies, but Toyota, Lexus, right, they sell, I mean, Honda sells a lot of cars, but Acura compared to Lexus, right, doesn't sell nearly as many cars. Now, why is this important to note? Whenever you have an underdog situation with a vehicle, it creates an environment where the underdog has to be better in terms of at least something, but usually like the overall car compared to whoever's up top, because, you know, they got to convince people to go for the underdog, because people are sheeple sometimes, as I say, and they'll just buy, everyone wants to buy what everyone else is buying. So you look at the engine this has, you look at the fact that, again, double pane windows, front and rear, massaging seats. You've got air suspension with this too, adjustable suspension. This and panoramic center, at the same price point, this just has more features than the TX. Acura has to do that because they're the underdog. Lexus, right? Everyone's buying our product anyways, so we can skimp out on a few things. They'll pay it. They'll pay the price, right? That's the mentality difference. And man, let me tell you, the MDX Type S is one of the best driving modern SUVs, especially performance-oriented SUVs. It's such an underrated vehicle. I remember when I first reviewed the Type S's, people were talking about how, oh, they're too heavy, and you know, this and all these random complaints. Oh, they don't have enough power, right? Just all these complaints. And here we are a few years later, and the Type S looks pretty appealing, right? Because it still has a V6, and it's much more affordable compared to the competition. I mean, you look at like the Germans, so much more expensive for their similarly equipped cars. I mean, like a BMW X5 with the B58 that competes directly against this engine, loaded up like this, I mean, you're like 100 grand. It's crazy. So this thing's looking like a pretty darn good value, isn't it, guys? Yeah, it's comfortable, it's quiet inside. You do get some tire noise, because again, when you got low profile performance tires, they're going to be a little bit louder. You know what I'd love to see with this is someone put some, because the brakes aren't like massive, someone put some smaller wheels and some all-terrain tires in this, because it has height adjustable suspension, and do some off-roading with it. Doesn't technically have, you have a lift mode, doesn't have an off-road mode, but it does have a lift mode, so you could technically do some stuff. So super smooth drive, great power delivery. I mean, look at this engine. Boom! It's just like, it's one of the smoothest V6s on the market. This 3.0 and Nissan's 3.5 V6 are just so good. Both are incredibly smooth, great power delivery. And the thing about this is, it may not feel as torquey as some other 6 cylinders right off the bat. It's got plenty of torque, but it just smoothly revs up to redline. And again, in a performance-oriented car like this, that's exactly what you want. You want to have top-end power as much as you want, you know, you want some bottom-end power for an SUV, but you want that top end too, because that's where the excitement is. If you don't have a top end to a car, it's boring to drive when it's performance oriented. It's not fun at all. And this thing, I mean, it has got a top end. It is so good. So that's Lexus TX. Let's see if it can compare. Well, let's set off in the TX 500H. Now, even though this doesn't have the double pane in the back, it's still very insulating. You still have it up front. It's not like you get into this and you're like, oh man, tons of road noise, tons of this. No, it's fine. It's fine. It does just fine. Now, this on paper has more horsepower, more torque, but it's out of a turbo 4-cylinder hybrid. So it's a bit different with the power delivery. Now, here's what I'll say is, like I said with the Acura, you know, to really get the power in that, it's kind of like a top-end engine, so you got to rev it out a bit, but it doesn't feel bad to rev it out. It's fun. And that car kind of eggs you on, too, to drive it, like, fast. Again, it's got that performance car stuff with it. This, no, that's not the case at all. Like, I just want to just sit back and just kind of cruise. And that's what makes this car weird, because it has these, like, tight performance seats. But this powertrain it's got power, but it's not performance-y at all. It's kind of like laid back, just partial throttle, ride on the torque, and relax. That's kind of what this car is all about. But, you know, it also feels like the Acura is like razor sharp. This is kind of, it's not like bad body roll, but it's a little bit floatier, kind of that bigger SUV feel. It's not bad, but certainly do notice it. Let's turn this off. Yeah, the torque's good. This is just not like, these cars are so different. And you know, here's my hot take of the week, as someone who owns a hybrid with a lot of horsepower. Performance hybrids make no sense. I shouldn't say make no sense. I think a performance hybrid in a like truck-like car makes all the sense in the world. You get a little bit better fuel economy, and that extra low-end torque is great for off-roading. It's great for towing. It's all good for that. But for something like this that's kind of trying to be like a performance SUV, no. Doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense. It is, and also the drive modes, I forgot, are freaking in the screen. So I wanted to have sport mode there, just like we had in the Acura, but we'll have to wait. Because in the Acura, I can just twist a fun little tactile dial. In this, I gotta go and click through a screen. So silly. Let's make physical buttons a thing again. Come on, let's bring them back. Let's stop playing this silly screen tap game. Yeah, this is not a bad car. I prefer driving the MDX though, I'll tell you that right now. Like if I did like a road trip, yeah, I'd still prefer the MDX over this. Man, that turning radius is wider than I thought it would be. It's got good power, but like it does not sound good. And you know, the MDX is a turbo V6, so it's going to be muffled to an extent, but at least has somewhat of a good sound. Whether it's piped in or not, I don't really care. Sounds okay, but it feels exciting. Like this is like, it's got power, but it's like meh. Again, this type of power in a truck, I love it. Right? Because you just sit back. But when this is trying, like with these tight bucket type seats and everything, when it's trying to be sporty and it's just not, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's like when you see the 40-year-olds that have the baseball cap, but they have it on backwards. You know, they're trying to be something. It's like, dude, you're like 20, 30 years too late for that. For that. You know, they're wearing cargo shorts, baseball cap turned backwards, t-shirt. It's like, dude, you're basically a boomer now. You need to go and dress appropriately for your age, and that's what the TX is like. It's like you got a hybrid 4-cylinder turbo. Stop trying to act like you're not performance at all. Let me know which one you like better.